Welcome back, guys, to the Blue Collar Fantasy Football. So today we got a little bit of a different one for you guys. We're not going to be hyping, under-hyping.
Nope.
We're just going to be patting me on the back all day.
Yeah.
So, oh, come on. So today we're going to go over, we did a startup dynasty draft, 10-team, SUPERFLEX. But we're just going to go over, I'm going to go over my picks, why I picked them, where I got them at, and what my kind of strategy was going into this. And we're just going to kind of review it and just talk about it. Open the forum. Ryan thinks he's going to roast me, but there's no chance.
Nah, yeah, you drafted well.
Well, I helped that we had a similar strategy going into it.
We did. I took it way deeper than everyone else, but no, I think you...
I hit the panic eject button.
It worked out, though. I think you're definitely more balanced than I am.
Well, with that in mind, guys, let's get it cracking. Enjoy the guitar intro. We'll see you on the other side. Hello from the other side. Don't use that.
It was pretty. It was good. It was good. You should have let it go, dude. I'm gonna try to splice it in.
Hello.
You can.
Let's go full action.
Full act, do it, dude. Just do it. Send it. It's hilarious.
All right, guys. Welcome to the other side. So, in this draft, I had the pick at the 102. I was pretty excited about that, actually. I like being able to hammer down on the corners of the snake, in your snake drafting. Versus you, who had what, the 106?
6, yeah. I was in 6.
I like it better. I like being able just to hammer down. So if I'm going to lock down on wide receivers or I'm going to lock down on just talent, I can hit it and then wait for it to come back to me and see who falls.
Well, and it's easy to catch up too. If all the running backs are going, you can get in on it before it's all gone, kind of thing.
Right. The only downside I see to it is that if when the trends hit and there's a run, for example in this draft there was a run on tight ends, a couple different ones, and with where I was at the 102, it was either done.
Yeah.
I guess it was done or starting right after me.
Well,
it's kind of how it's just how it fell. But
yeah.
I didn't want to be reactionary to it.
Right,
and reach for someone I didn't want to.
And there was a couple running back runs. I mean, it's just how if you're doing dynasty drafts, you know this.
Right. Well, just being at the end versus being in the middle like you are. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, tight ends are going? Is this a value here or do I need to move on?
Yeah. Whereas
me, I'm like, okay, cool, all the tight ends are gone. You know what I mean? So it was kind of interesting, but
yeah.
So my strategy going into this, rounds 1 and 2, I wanted just to hammer. Since I had the 102, I wanted to hammer quarterbacks. I wanted to lock in 2 elites. Right off jump was my number one plan for this. So Patrick Mahomes went first. I grabbed Josh Allen at the 1-2. Sweet. I'm more than happy with that.
No one's ever going to argue with that.
No one's going to argue it. It was a super safe pick. I didn't do anything crazy on it. So it came all the way back around to me after everyone went, and Justin Herbert fell back to me. I hammered down, so I locked in Josh Allen and Justin Herbert in my first 2 rounds of this draft.
Yeah.
So I like this approach of locking down my elites in a SUPERFLEX dynasty league. They're both young. They're both, upside plays and floor plays.
Yeah, well, and in a SUPERFLEX, I mean, we all know the value the value of quarterbacks. I mean, they're going to consistently give you the highest points.
So with me going with this strategy, I'm hoping to average 50 points a week.
Yeah, that's the goal.
My round 1 and 2 picks is how I kind of math this out.
Right, for sure.
Is that I want to lock them in. I also don't have to think about quarterback.
Yeah. You didn't have to game plan like I did.
I did not have to game plan. I tried to. Right. Went out the window with your wife drafting in.
She's a wild card.
I didn't have to game plan it. I locked it in early, and I feel like it's the most important part of my build was just to, especially the 1-2.
Yeah.
I get one of the best, and then I come back around, and I hope that there's like what happened. I hope the Breece Halls go. I hope the Jahmyr Gibbs goes, and it gives me an opportunity to get a Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
I mean, I was actually hoping Jordan Love would fall to me,
Right.
which would just be a great value. You know what I mean? Like a good value with upside, longevity. But Justin Herbert, I was super stoked with. I was actually prepared to reach for Kyler Murray at that second round pick. Just to lock in my quarterbacks.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it wasn't. It was a reach, but it wouldn't have even been that crazy because right after him, Brock Purdy went. It kind of surprised us, and then Trevor Lawrence went, and then Kyler. I would take Kyler over both of those guys easily.
That was where I kind of went. I went with that.
Yeah.
I wanted one of those elites with upside.
Yeah.
Purdy, I love Purdy. I just don't think he falls in that same category.
No, I don't. Well, and I don't think he should go ahead of Jared Goff. And Jared Goff went almost 2 rounds behind Brock Purdy.
And Dak Prescott went right before I grabbed Herbert.
Yeah.
To a homer.
Yep.
So that worked out perfectly for me. That was my game plan going into it. I was stoked. Excuse me. And then so went around the curve, and then I went ahead and grabbed AJ Brown. So when I grabbed AJ Brown, I still had Tyreek Hill, I still had Puka Nacua available, Jonathan Taylor, and Sam Laporta was still available there.
Yeah.
I decided to go with AJ Brown based on his quarterback situation, the team situation. And like you said earlier when we were talking about this, he just seems happy there. I just wanted to lock in.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I wanted to go safe for rounds 1 through 5 or 1 through 3.
And honestly, AJ Brown is more, in my opinion, a more safe dynasty pick than a Puka or a Jonathan Taylor, because I mean, Puka might not have a quarterback in 2 years. It might be a 1-year rental of Jimmy G and then a rookie, or who knows. Tyreek, he's talked about retirement the next year or two.
Right.
Jonathan Taylor as a rushing quarterback. I mean, there's a lot of question marks there.
And I was trying to just get the bones locked in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to lock my bones in
100%.
to build around. You know what I mean? In this draft, I was trying to, so you'll see. So I got AJ Brown at the 3-2. I went ahead and grabbed at the 4-9 when it came back to me. I grabbed Chris Olave. So I'm trying to hammer down on wide receivers right here. So when I build my dynasty team, my whole game plan going into this was longevity, get me high-end assets, and wide receivers, as we know, have a much longer shelf life than running backs do.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, and honestly, the Olave pick, I love that pick there in the 4th round for you because
that's my wide receiver 2.
Yeah, your wide receiver 2, and they have a new offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you all have heard about how Stone Age the Saints offense was, how they had the least motion, pre-snap motion in the NFL. Now they have,
which is not what the NFL is nowadays.
No, and now they have San Francisco, a coach from San Francisco running this offense. And I mean, ever heard of Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk? They're moving pre-snap almost every play.
Constantly.
And with Shaheed on the other side, and that movement, it's going to make a difference this year.
Well, and I felt like there's a little bit of a tier break. I mean, after Chris Olave was DJ Moore, went between my picks.
Yeah.
So I grabbed Olave over DJ Moore.
I like that, by the way.
I feel like it's the only option.
Yeah.
I mean, with DJ Moore over there in Chicago, I didn't trust that Keenan Allen was not going to interfere with value there.
You're grabbing a wide receiver 1 over a team's wide receiver 2.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Wide receiver 2.
Right.
And then it just, even for that spot, so Olave and then Saquon went right after Olave, DJ Moore, and then it came right back to me, and I grabbed Michael Pittman there.
Yeah.
Same thing. I'm trying to go for wide receiver 1s. I'm trying to get locked in value, and I'm trying to hammer down on wide receivers.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a solid pick. Pittman, he's locked and loaded. He's gonna get over 100 targets.
Right.
I mean, that's wide receiver 3. This is a 3 wide receiver league, 2 flex and a super flex. Just to clarify.
Start 10 league.
Yeah, and I mean,
no tight end premium.
Right, and right after Pittman went, Devonta Smith went, which if you didn't have AJ Brown, I'm assuming you would have smashed. right there.
I would probably still take Pittman.
Really?
I do. I like Anthony Richardson.
Okay.
And I also liked Pittman last year. I would rather take the wide receiver 1
Okay.
than wide receiver 2 as my...
Yeah.
If I'm hammering down on upside,
No,
stable wide receivers, that's my opinion. I like Pittman better than I like Devonta Smith.
I don't know. I don't know where I'm at on that.
I do.
That's interesting. It's an interesting kind of game to play, though, in your head. I mean, I think they're very, very close.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, clearly. So after Devonta Smith got Tua went off, Xavier Worthy.
Yep.
That one kind of took me back a little bit. I don't know about you.
That shocked me that he didn't even go to the Kansas City Chiefs guy.
Yeah.
It surprised me. I think there's 2 camps on Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
He's the new Tyreek Hill, or you're scared of him.
Yep.
And you don't want to touch it.
I'm scared.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
I mean, he was what, the 4th rookie? Go off the board?
Pretty
Besides
close. Oh yeah, not counting quarterbacks. Yeah.
4th after Rome, around after Rome.
It's rich.
That's way rich.
Yeah, no, yeah, right after Rome, he was the next rookie.
That's too rich for me.
It is.
I mean, and that's why I went Pittman.
Yeah, and so also, we're not going to go through every round of this draft, but after Worthy, I took DK Metcalf. And then this is just another one that I want to bring up of like, I don't agree with this ADP or where he went.
Mm-hmm.
Zay Flowers went right after DK Metcalf and Worthy. And I mean, you're talking, this is right after Devonta Smith and Michael Pittman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what, 4 picks later?
Yeah.
1 pick after DK?
Yep.
DK was the other guy I was considering there.
Yeah.
For reaching there, I was going to go DK or Pittman. Where I was going.
Team's wide receiver 1.
Zay Flowers I agree with you. I think it's way too high.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he's the wide receiver 1 there. I think it's still Mark Andrews.
Right. And I mean, I'm not going to deviate too much here, but I mean, the next round after I grabbed DK, I grabbed George Pickens.
Right.
I still like that over Zay.
Or like Pickens over Zay.
Right. But the whole reason we're going through this round, this is where the tight end started
hammered.
It got hammered. Absolutely hammered. And it kind of shocked everyone.
Well, at the 5'8", Trey McBride went at the 5'8". As soon as Trey McBride went, it just triggered it.
Yeah.
It triggered it.
There was 6 off the board in a round.
Around it, yeah. Within a round.
Yeah.
So Trey McBride went, Travis Kelce went, and then it came back around. So Kincaid went in at 5'10". At the 6'6", Dallas Goedert, Brock Bowers, Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
All went off the board.
It happened fast.
Which I loved.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that Brock Bowers didn't fall.
Right. And this is the perfect situation where grab tight end early or grab whatever falls to you, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's a screaming value,
right.
Which we're going to get to Dustin's screaming value here shortly. So who'd you take next?
So when all those tight ends ran, I stayed true. Yeah. And I was hammering wide receivers, so I ended up with T. Higgins. I ended up with T. Higgins at the 6'9". So T. Higgins ends up being my wide receiver 4 on this build.
Killer.
So he's my first flex spot.
I like that.
I love it. So after T. Higgins, my bad, Tank Dell went. I struggled with this decision.
Yeah.
Of taking T over Tank Dell.
I get why it's a struggle.
My only reservation I have with my starting strategy that I went with is that I might have been too safe.
I can see that a little bit.
I might have been a little bit too safe with it, with Olave, Pittman, Higgins, A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
It's a little bit safe to me, but I also think that I'm also, I don't know, I try to draft where I know I'm not losing value tomorrow.
Right. No, yeah, you know what I mean? You have a few years of upside here.
Right.
Yeah.
Where I don't want to, I don't know, especially in these early rounds, especially because that's when you get your strategy going into it.
Yeah.
Where you're like, all right, I'm going to try to do this, and this. I'm going to try to grab the value that falls. just like this. Tight ends run. I'm coming back, and I'm going to take whatever the best player there is. So my thought process with T was that Tyler Boyd's gone.
Yeah.
I'm assuming great health for Joe Burrow, as we all are.
Yes.
I like the opportunity for T. I like the player of T as well.
Well, and the good thing about taking T here is, you do have upside with A.J. Brown. I mean, we've seen huge games from A.J. Brown.
Yep.
We hope for a huge upside from Chris Olave. I mean, obviously, yeah. And but I do think Pittman and Higgins are your PPR masters here. They're going to see maybe 150 targets this season. Well, maybe not Higgins, but Pittman.
Right.
We expect to see tons of targets. And T's gonna get his 1,000 yards, and
I'm stoked to have T as my wide receiver 4.
No, it's great. It's great.
Let's go on this route.
Yep.
And this is just kicking the running back can down the road.
Yep.
I'm not over drafting these guys where I'm so worried about getting that value back.
No, well, these are all value picks throughout this because there's a huge tier break here in a minute.
But I'm saying versus grabbing a running back earlier.
Oh yeah.
It's like getting a new car and it devalues off the lot.
Oh, instantly.
As soon as you pull those running backs out of the draft,
yep,
go try to get the draft value for them if they're not the top 10.
If they're not top 10, they might as well be just top 30 guys.
It feels the same.
Yeah, it feels the same. Seriously,
especially going through these ADPs. I mean, you had Kamara going super late, Derrick Henry going super late. All these tried and true guys that are going super late. So you're telling me I can gobble up young and high upside wide receivers in the beginning and then come back and scoop up a Derrick Henry later?
You're right.
That's crazy. Wow. Yeah. I don't see the value. And then, so this year they're 100% good to go, as we know.
Yeah.
Next year they're a little bit shaky, but I also have a rookie draft between here and there.
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah,
you can double down, grab some, and you'll see what I did. But there's so much value for the running backs later on.
There is.
Whereas the wide receiver drops off.
So fast.
Heavy.
So fast.
I mean, crazy heavy, I felt like.
Well, and plus, I mean, I've seen so many of these dynasty rosters. You see them on, social media and stuff where, I mean, guys are rolling out Hollywood Brown as their wide receiver too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not into that.
I'm not.
We play in a couple PPR leagues, and it's like, no, I want full points. I want all the receptions. I mean,
one thing about it this way. So say you get into it. With this build, I have 4 stud wide receivers.
Yeah.
2 superstar quarterbacks.
Right.
So with that build, say I make 0 trades or moves.
Mm-hmm.
And I have just a rookie draft to look forward to in the offseason, and say you give me a 30% success hit rate.
Yeah.
So over 2 years, I'm not going to have to make moves on these guys.
Yeah, we had very similar thoughts about that.
You know what I mean? So say I can't get a single trade to go through. This trade they love their guys. I drafted this guy. I've seen him through to the end. That was what I was afraid of.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's kind of what leaned me towards this, because I don't know all these guys. I don't know if it's going to be what if we just can't agree on trade value? Yeah,
because we do have some friends and family in this league, but there's a few randoms, hopefully followers of the show. Hopefully you're with us, but I mean, who knows? When you're doing a startup with some new people and stuff, you never know. I tried to get a trade to go through just the other, right after the draft, and a guy said, "Hey, it's too early." And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he drafted his team and wants to see.
He wants to see what he's got. And you already said my wife's in this league. She already said, no.
Not till season starts.
Not till season starts. And it's like, oh.
It's one of that Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah.
And I got shut down immediately.
But that's just, it's learning your league.
Right.
So after T.
So after T, Tank Dell, Mark Andrews went. So I kind of started, I hit eject.
You did, right here.
I hit eject.
In a good spot.
I like the spot. So I'm in the 7th round before I grab my first running back.
I love that.
So on the board, I have Kenneth Walker, Isaiah Pacheco, and Rashad White. As far as ADP goes.
And Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry was a reach.
Oh, was it? Okay. I'm just looking at the draft board.
It was a pretty good reach.
Yeah.
So looking at those guys, because I'm not reaching for Derrick Henry here. I
don't blame you.
I respect you calling your shot. I'm just not doing it. So I went ahead and I grabbed Rachaad White. This is a full PPR league. He crushed last year. I also don't see a move in the offseason or in the draft to complicate that. So I felt very comfortable doing this in the 7th round.
No, and I really think Bucky Irving is a break glass in case of emergency type of back for this team.
Oh, I do too.
Or if once Rachaad White's contract runs out, they move on to Bucky.
I think he'll be a smoke break backup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I felt very comfortable doing that. And this was also at the end of the turn. So I grabbed T. Higgins, 2 picks, and I was like, I decided I need to make a move on running back now. I like this little range where I actually still have value here.
Good move, because you started to run.
I did start to run. So when I took Rachaad White, Kenneth Walker went, Isaiah Pacheco went, Derrick Henry went. In that same round, Jonathan Brooks went as well towards the end. But I also liked making the move to running back here because right here, as far as ADP went, it was Jordan Addison, Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs. Those would have been huge additions to my wide receiver room if I had Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs as my wide receiver 5.
Oh, yeah.
If I'd have hung in there another round longer, I see the value in it, but I also saw a pretty substantial drop-off.
Yeah.
As far as running backs went, there was also a running back run right before.
Yes.
In that round leading into running back.
Just going to bring it up.
Travis Etienne actually fell to that 6th round. James Cook went. Devon Achane went. Josh Jacobs went. So that run kind of made, it's a gut check.
It is.
Where you're like, okay,
for sure.
So am I signing off? I'm at the end of that turn. Am I signing off on 2 rounds of not a running back?
You got to really.
So you look at that ADP and you're like, oof, it gets a little steep, a little quick for me here. So I went ahead and I just sent it. I grabbed Rachaad White. I really like the value there. I like the PPR play opposed to like a Kenneth Walker, or even an Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, and honestly, in this full PPR format, I mean, the only other ones I would have went for, which honestly I think they would have been a little bit of a reach, was Brooks or Mixon.
Brooks. So going into the draft, Brooks was my eject button.
Yeah,
he was my eject button.
Yeah.
But I didn't want Brooks over Rachaad White.
No, I think you made the right move.
You know what I mean? With Rachaad White still being available, reaching for Jonathan Brooks with just his situation with being in Carolina might be enough
100%
for me to make that decision. I really like Jonathan Brooks. He was the guy I was shooting for there.
Yeah.
I planned on skipping Isaiah Pacheco. I planned on skipping Kenneth Walker. I planned on skipping Rachaad White.
Yeah.
Going into the draft.
Right.
But when that run came, it scared me. And then another run came. So I'm really glad I did what I did.
Well, and plus, this is a perfect example of you can't just say, I'm grabbing Zamir White in the 10th, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
That's not how you have to be able to move with your draft. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't just, that's how you get sniped, and you end up with James Conner as your RB1.
As a panic, and you panic by.
Right. Yes.
Which we're all guilty of. I did one in like 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And it happens, but like even doing the mock drafts. So on Sleeper, the mock drafts, I feel like so I played on ESPN a lot. We've recently moved to Sleeper, and I'm not a huge fan of the mock draft format.
It's a little goofy.
It was very repetitive. The same thing in every mock draft if I wanted to.
Yes.
I mean, at this spot, doing those mock drafts,
yes,
I had Brandon Ayuk all day. Mm-hmm. Every single time.
Yeah, you can work those mocks. You can't trust mocks against computers. Later in the draft,
these quarterbacks would just gather. There was a grip of quarterbacks, Michael Penix, Kirk Cousins. That whole bracket of quarterbacks just sat. Yeah. Sat. You had to draft around it.
And
it's impossible.
In Superflex, you cannot count on quarterbacks ever sitting. Sit just waiting for you. No, they're gonna fly.
I tried. I thought so. I grabbed those 2 superstars late or off the jump, and I was like, I'm gonna hold out, and I'm gonna grab a late round Michael Penix. Was my whole plan. I'm gonna taxi squad him. Nobody wants him.
That's a great strategy.
Nobody wants him.
It's a great strategy you had.
Except for Ryan's wife. Grabbed him as soon as his ADP came up.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I was like, sweet, I'll grab it as soon as he gets back. He's gonna sit there. It's not how.
Yeah, and that was in the 12th round, 12-1, which, I mean, it's hard to say that's too early because who knows? He could start for Atlanta next year.
It's not. I was going to take him at the end of the 12th.
Yeah.
I was just like, no one's going to, he's going to fall to me. No one's going to. I mean, Drake May in his draft. Drake May, let's see, I don't know if I can find
it's right. I got you. 10th round, yeah. Yep. Shortly after Aaron Rodgers.
That's yes. After Aaron Rodgers.
What were you gonna say?
That's crazy. That is crazy. That was actually 10-3. Drake May drafted by my wife. I was like, yeah, please do.
Atta girl.
This is insane.
Yep.
Okay.
After Rashad White. So that was the turn. Came all the way back around. So I got Justin Herbert. I am a sucker for stacks. For sure.
I love my stacks. So I went ahead and I was like, I feel a little bit old. I want to just kind of shake it up with some rookies. So I grabbed Ladd McConkey right here. Before Ladd McConkey, Devontae Adams went, JSN went. I grabbed Ladd McConkey, and then Mike Evans went. I struggled a little bit choosing Ladd over Mike Evans.
Well, and there was, I mean, you got to remember, after your running back pick, Jordan Addison, Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs, Brian Thomas, Rashee Rice, Keon Coleman, Devontae Adams, JSN. Then, I mean, it was like, this is receiver time. Mm-hmm. You got to get back into it because if you miss out, you're not going to have a wide receiver 4 or 5, etc.
Well, and I really wanted that youth.
Yeah,
I wanted that youth. I like Ladd as a prospect, and I love if Ladd's the dude.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
And I have a Justin Herbert and Ladd McConkey stack.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good.
On my dynasty startup team, I'll frame it.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be sick.
And I'll also frame that I got him in the 8th round.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's a little high. It's a little high for what it is.
I think so.
But they also evacuated their wide receiver room.
Yeah, but and is it a little high because 2 picks before that? Okay, Devontae. Well, I grabbed Keon, and then 2 picks later, Devontae Adams.
Right.
Fair enough.
Sure.
JSN,
which is insane to me.
Yeah,
insane.
That's crazy.
It's insane to me.
Let's put it this way: Terry McLaurin, Hollywood Brown, Cooper Kupp
went 5 picks after JSN.
Jaden Reed. I mean, all these guys went after JSN. I'm not giving anyone a hard time at all.
No.
Because JSN could be. I still think he's going to be great.
Right.
They
drafted him crazy high.
Yes, and so I'm in on JSN.
He's his own roster clog.
Right, exactly.
On that depth chart.
And I mean, like you said, Mike Evans went right after Ladd. I mean, you had to make this pick right here if you were gonna.
If I wanted a piece of a rookie, a high end rookie.
Yeah,
this is where I had to do it. And the stack took over the top for me.
Yeah, and you had the short turn here, and it's. I would have done exactly what you did. Grab your rookie guy that you want to get that stack, and then move on.
Well, and I didn't invest super high in any rookies.
Right.
I didn't go Neighbors. I didn't go Bowers. I didn't go Oduze. I didn't go Harris.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm shooting my shot. Me having Justin Herbert took me over the top on it.
Yeah. I like it.
So came around the turn. Mike Evans, Matthew Stafford actually went here. So I almost timed out on this pick.
Kids running around the house.
Yeah, I timed out. So I panic grabbed. So I was going through. I was shopping. What wide receivers are left. I'm still debating my tight end situation. I have none as of this point. And I was kind of just going through, and I went ahead and picked Alvin Kamara at this pick. I reached a little bit early. Like you said in the draft, you were surprised.
I was.
But my running back 2 is Alvin Kamara. And in the moment, I was kind of, I did that. He's old, not where I wanted to go. But even looking back on it, I mean, DeAndre Swift fell super far. I wanted to I have DeAndre Swift on a couple other teams. So I didn't, even though he kept falling, kept being a value, I didn't want to overinvest just because it's DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Najee Harris, I'm not super into at all, even with the age factor and all that.
I'm excited for next year, Najee, of where he's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, I'm not excited about. Aaron Jones went after Ramondre Stevenson. Zamir White, which I love that pick that you did. Nick Chubb, which I guess I could have justified Nick Chubb. I just don't know he's going to come back from after I watched him break in half.
Not as your RB2, though.
I don't want to invest in him.
No.
So I grabbed Kamara. So I figured between Rashad White and Alvin Kamara, I have a late round PPR nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, there's 100 plus targets there, easy. I mean, easy between the two of them.
Dominated.
Yeah.
Took him.
Oh, he was RB4, I want to say, after week 10 or something like that. Yeah.
I didn't overinvest in him. I didn't go crazy. But I did. It was a panic buy. My timer was going down, and I was actually debating between Cooper Kupp, Jaden Reed.
There's a lot of juice in this round.
There is. And it's that older juice where you're trying to pick where you want to invest.
Yeah, you're fully aware of his efficiency going down each year, his contract.
Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen's right here.
Yeah. There's
Hollywood
a lot.
Brown. I did panic on the spot. Didn't feel great after I did it. Looking back on it, I actually stand by the pick.
Yeah, I don't think you could have done better.
No, I like, you have to kind of pick. You have to pick your investments, and that's where I chose to go.
It worked
with a RB2 in Dynasty League. I don't really care how old you are as long as you're still producing.
Honestly, if you're on the field, it'll work.
If you're on the field with the way I did this, I am happy with you.
Yeah.
Give me Devin Singletary as my RB2 and I'm probably locked.
I'm not scared.
I'm not. So that was my turn. It goes all the way back around.
Well, yeah, real quick.
What you got?
I mean, the running backs after Chubb, I mean, you did kill this because, I mean, after Kamara, like you said, there's Najee, Swift. But, I mean, after Chubb, you're down to Javonte and
David Montgomery,
which is who you picked.
Is who I picked. So on the turn. So we're skipping ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed a round.
We're skipping ahead.
My bad.
So
my apologies.
My whole plan was to get super late round value on TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
He's out that first month. Everyone's afraid of it. Tight end 5 last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's like 25 years old.
Yeah, 26.
26.
Yep.
Younger than you think.
Younger than you think, yeah.
He's younger than you think he is.
Yep.
Especially for a tight end. So I kind of really sold myself on it going into this draft.
Yeah, same.
Let him fall. Let him fall. I'm going to gobble him up. He went 2 picks before me.
Oof.
2 picks before me. That's okay. George Kittle was still sitting there. So I said, you know what? Let's get out of this. I mean, I got my RB1. I got my RB2. I love my wide receivers. Love my quarterbacks. Let's lock it in. I'm grabbing George Kittle.
Yep.
George Kittle in the 10th round. I am stoked on it. I actually walked out of this after essentially punting it till the 10th round. And I walked out with a startable every week starting tight end.
With upside. Yeah. And, I mean, tight ends play till... they play a long time.
Good. I need them too.
Yeah, because, I mean, Kittle is 30. But...
2 years. If I get 2 years...
I think you're going to get 2 years.
If he's still on if he's still there.
Right.
I'd love 2-year increments, guys.
Yep.
That's what I'm looking at here.
100%. I'm with you on that. 100%.
So I chose... So the only other tight end that I really had super interest in was Evan Ingram, which went around later. But
and Jake Ferguson.
And Ferguson.
You like Ferguson there?
I don't know if Ferguson's their for sure starter.
No, I doubt.
Over the next 2-3 years.
Yeah. Long term, I don't think so.
I also don't think he has any value.
Right.
Trade value.
Yeah. I mean, you got to realize they're gonna bring back Dak. They're gonna spend money on Dak. They gotta keep paying CD. I mean, Dallas is not going to invest heavily in the tight end position. We saw it with Schultz. He killed it, and he still didn't get a contract.
Well, and for example, if you were to send me a trade for Jake Ferguson, what would you send me?
Oh man,
Exactly.
Not much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No actual. I don't think there's much actual value there.
No, and
he's a great player. I mean, I rocked him through on like a numerous redraft teams last year.
Redraft. I love him in redraft.
But I don't think there's any actual value there. Whereas Kittle, he's older, but he actually has the name value, the upside value.
Right. Now, if Ferguson
sooner.
Right. And I mean, he's 5 years younger than Kittle. But I mean, after Ferguson went ahead of Njoku, Evan Ingram, Luke Musgrave. See, like Luke Musgrave, Dalton Schultz, Cole Kmet. That's the range where I'm interested in Jake Ferguson. But he's not falling that far anymore.
He also went to the Dallas Cowboys team.
Yeah. You're going to have a Dallas Cowboys homer in every league, I promise. So don't count on Ferguson being there. But I agree with your pick on Kittle.
I mean, that's kind of where I made my decision.
Yeah.
Was, okay, I got sniped on TJ Hawkinson.
Yep.
That's crazy, but I did.
It is.
And I was like, okay, so George Kittle's still sitting here. I'm going to hammer it.
Yep.
I'm hammering. I'm at the start of my turn. So I'm going to lock in the onesie and then come back. And then after that turn, I went ahead. So Javonte went, Jake Ferguson went. I hammered down. And we're back. Technical difficulties. Laptop died.
Lost some footage.
Doesn't matter. We're here. We're here at the 11th round, second pick.
The 11th hour.
David Monk. Yeah. So, I got Alvin Kamara 2 picks ago. I'm recapping for me, not you. Give me a second. Alvin Kamara, George Kittle. Now I'm up. I'm taking David Montgomery here. So, David Montgomery is a screaming late round value, in my opinion, over like the next guys up I had as options were Tajay Spears, Jalen Warren, Tony Pollard. Jalen Warren is actually the only guy I probably would have gone with had I not gone with David Montgomery. He's got the age, he's got that breakout potential, and he showed up last year.
Yeah, and, Najee's contract's about to run out, and I would be shocked if they bring him back.
But David Montgomery, I think he's super safe.
Yeah.
How old is he? 27? 27. So he is right there at that age drop-off. But I think now that he's doing that split role with Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think Jahmyr Gibbs' role is going to expand a little bit more.
Yes.
Honestly, doesn't scare me that much as far as David Montgomery goes. I think he's safe. I kind of just grabbed that value there for that I want to replicate some of that production he had last year in my RB3. Possible I can flex him if I need to. I can bye week play. He's just a spot fill.
Yep.
So I kind of try to avoid when I went into this. I try to avoid the Tennessee Twins. They're two of the same players in the same backfield. I don't know how that's going to shake out. This is a dynasty startup draft.
Yeah,
I don't want to lock myself into it.
Yeah, and I mean, it really could. We all love Tajay Spears, his upside, what he can be, but we really haven't seen any of it.
He's been very productive.
Yeah,
with his touches.
Yeah.
I saw a thing. He was like top. Oh, I'm gonna throw a number on it, but like top 7 of production versus touches.
Right. Yeah. I'm looking at. I got his numbers up in front of me right now. I mean, his best game was last year, week 13, 16 carries, 75 yards, 4.6 a carry, 4.7 a carry. So I mean,
that was rushes.
Yeah.
That was receiving.
Receiving's better.
Well, yeah.
He definitely gets targets.
Especially when he had Derrick Henry in that backfield.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's all 6 targets. He has some 1s, 2s, 3s mixed in, but 6 targets, 8 targets, 5, 6, 5. I mean, He gets good targets when he sees the field.
Well, and with this build, with me kicking that running back can down the road, I didn't want to wait.
Yeah.
I didn't want to wait here. I wanted to lock in that spot for that flex opportunity, those bye weeks, RB2 injury. So I went David Montgomery. I liked the pick over those guys.
And if he keeps getting touchdowns like this, he's going to continue to be an RB2.
And they love him over there.
They do.
I mean,
They do.
I wouldn't be shocked if he got re-signed into like a Jamal Williams role continuously,
Yep.
for the next few years. So I went there. So that was the end of my, coming around that corner. Coming back around, a couple more running backs went. A couple of these older wide receivers, Jameson Williams went right before me. So here I went ahead and I grabbed Deontay Johnson.
Yep, 12th round.
12th round, ninth pick overall. I like Deontay's opportunity here.
Mm-hmm.
I did, however, miss Calvin Ridley, who I would have taken over Deontay Johnson.
It's weird. You must have just not scrolled all the way up.
I don't know if I
It's
was
strange.
timing out. I didn't realize it until we were recapping.
Yeah.
To go over it today.
Yeah, because it is, and Calvin Ridley fell. I mean,
Yes.
I want to say like at least a round. He just sat there, so it must have just been.
I could have been scrolled.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't mind the pick though.
No, Deontay's that's a great spot for Deontay.
Deontay, it's super cheap. He comes out being the wide receiver 1 over there, over Leggett.
Yeah.
Wouldn't shock me if Bryce Young does take that step. I got a super late value
Yeah, and
on a startable player.
And he's 27. I mean, you got a couple years
Mhm.
of productivity ahead of you. I mean, new team. He's going to be the new shiny toy for Bryce Young.
So, in my defense, I did shave 4 years off Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, we both went to immediately fact check that because I didn't feel
Yeah,
right.
2
So
years.
I did 2 years. 2 years.
But it feels like it's that
does.
long because you had the couple years of weirdness with Ridley. Of missing a year, getting suspended, yada yada yada.
Yep. So come around that corner. Raheem Mostert went off the board. I'm good there in a
Yeah.
dynasty startup.
Yeah.
I see the late round value there for this year. It's kind of David Montgomery's super light as far as a 1 year, 1 year rental, maybe 2 year rental. So I get it for sure. So around this turn, I am a Denver Broncos fan. So I couldn't pass up the opportunity to draft Troy Franklin, who I really, really liked going into this draft, until he fell.
Yeah.
Plummeted
Plummeted.
in, the projections and where he ended up getting drafted. But him going with Bo Nix to the Denver Broncos together, we've seen this have success.
Mm-hmm.
They already have that connection. Jerry Jeudy's out of town. I'm just shooting for some upside. Shooting for the vacated targets going over there, that connection going into there. The recipe makes sense.
It does. And I mean, especially because the receivers it gets hard right
Mhm.
here.
It does.
Because after Franklin, receiver wise, Roman Wilson, Jalen Polk, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Lockett, Luke McCaffrey, Romeo Dobbs. I mean, Jerry Jeudy. I like where you went there.
Well, and the only other guys I'd really be interested in there was Roman Wilson. If you're
Yeah.
in that camp,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. If you're
Which
in that
I
Roman
am.
Wilson camp, which I don't
Yeah.
disagree with,
Right.
it's got to be somebody. You know
Yeah.
what I mean. And there is tons of room, tons of targets over there. And then I was really hoping that Tyler Lockett would come back to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. No one's shocked that he didn't.
And he almost did though.
He did. He was 2 picks. He ended up getting taken 2 picks before me.
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett and then Zach Charbonnet. So because I got sniped on that Michael Penix Jr. Pick, actually 2 rounds earlier than this, Will Levis was falling down this draft.
Yeah. He plummeted.
He sat there and just kept getting overlooked.
Compared to where all these other quarterbacks went in this draft.
Yeah, I mean, I got him in a dead zone.
You got him 2 rounds after Bo Nix.
Yep. And he's going to have instant production. I grabbed him to spot fill for bye weeks, all that good stuff. They built around him this year.
Yeah.
I love him as my QB3 after my 2, locked in starters. Instant value, 14th round of this draft, it was pretty clear choice to me. I didn't have a backup quarterback up until this point because everyone has a third quarterback.
Third quarterback, yeah.
What everyone has a plan until they're punched in the face.
Yeah, pretty much
is what happened to me, and
yeah, it worked out.
I was trying to get Bo Nix. I was actually trying to get Bo Nix and then come back and get Troy Franklin.
Yeah,
Was my kind of plan there,
and it flipped on you. Bo Nix went a round before Troy Franklin.
Right, I was trying to get that in my turn.
Yeah,
was just to throw a rookie stack on my bench.
Yeah,
I was pretty excited about that. I got sniped on it.
But I honestly, if say the roles were flipped, I like Franklin solo more than Nick solo.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Agreed. It was a little bit, I was kind of trying to homer stack it.
Yeah.
On my dynasty we all fight it.
Yeah.
We all have these urges.
Dude, it was so hard not to reach for some Packers.
Well, and Troy Franklin's exciting. I like having the Will Levis as my QB3.
Yeah.
I feel like that's security. He showed that upside last year. And if he blows up, then I get to decide what I do with him. He's got this whole year, this whole off season to get going. He's the number one, working with the ones, And coming off of last year, he had those sparks, man.
Yeah.
That first game was nuts.
Insane.
I mean, it was completely nuts.
He's got a cannon.
Stop. Pause. And we're back. So Will Levis was the first pick of that turn. Devin Singletary, Khalil Shakir went in that turn. So I went ahead. So because I kind of kicked the can down the road on those running backs, and I grabbed those, kind of older assets with Alvin Kamara, David Montgomery, I grabbed Chase Brown.
Yeah.
So
I like the pick.
This was kind of phase 2 of my running back plan.
Yep.
So once we get into here, I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, Marshawn Lloyd, Jalen Wright, Jerome Ford, I am just aiming down high upside RB2s. An injury away from taking my team over the top. Then I'm getting them super late, super high value. That was my whole goal. So we're out of starting running back territory
for sure
by a good bit.
Besides maybe Dallas. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't know what to do with that.
But I mean, if Chase Brown, due to injury or due to production, can become the RB1 in Cincinnati, getting him in the 15th round.
15th round.
Come on, that's insane. We know what the Cincinnati running back can do. I mean, I'm sorry, Joe Mixon is not Breece Hall. You know what I mean? No,
and I just kind of wanted to just give me that depth.
Yeah.
I'm getting depth at a super late value.
With upside.
So if it turned into a couple weeks, sometimes it's all you need.
Yeah, I'll take
a Band-Aid.
I'll take a week in the 14th round.
Look at Zamir White last year.
Yeah.
That was a perfect example.
100%.
Where he showed up, Josh Jacobs wasn't in the production, Josh Jacobs was out. Zamir White came in and put up great numbers. If I could replicate that with somebody else, I mean, Alexander Madison of the past, Elijah Mitchell. Things like that could take you over the top. If that happens around playoffs and you're just locked and loaded,
yep.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, Zamir White last year, Ty Chandler last year.
Especially with pushing this can down this road.
Yeah.
Now that I'm out of there, I have 3 starters. I can roll them out any week and feel plenty good enough about it.
Yes.
Now I'm just trying to go for upside and these high upside backs.
Yeah.
Backups. Just giving myself depth. So grab Chase Brown, come all the way back around. So George Kittle I took as my tight end 1. So I was like, let's see what we got for some depth here. This guy sniped me of the Senator, but I grabbed Jatavian Sanders.
Couldn't help it. I had Daniels.
That's a great move. But I grabbed Jatavian Sanders. I figured we'll throw him on the bench, let him develop. I liked his I love highlight reels, college highlight reels. I saw it. I liked it. Easy to do.
He's athletic.
Super athletic.
He looks good. I think he's gonna. He might be a late bloomer.
Sure.
Perfect taxi squad guy.
Sure.
I mean, I that's a good pick there.
Yeah,
like
it's just giving me a little bit of depth there. I don't hold much value in the tight end position.
Right.
Overall, it's not a tight end premium. I don't want to overinvest in it without having some extreme trade value. You know what I mean? Which is why I went George Kittle in the first place.
Right. And on top of that, I mean, after Sanders, Dawson Knox, Michael Mayer, Isaiah Likely, Taysom Hill, Jared Wiley. I mean,
shooting a shot.
yeah.
It's all you're doing is shooting a shot.
And he was the third tight end to go in the draft?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And projected to be the second.
Yep. Yeah.
And over Bowers, which is
that's weird.
different level.
Different another conversation.
So I grabbed Jatavian Sanders, plus we have a taxi squad. I'm throwing him on the taxi squad. Let him develop, let him sit. I'll hit waiver wires and grab a Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
And rock it for a week. I am not concerned about tight end at all, honestly. So come back around that curb. So I'm shooting for these upside running backs. I grabbed J.K. Dobbins in the 17th round. The Chargers running back in the 17th round. We did a whole episode on J.K. Dobbins. What was it? The Where Are They Now?
Yeah, it was a part of that.
It was the part of the RB Where Are They Now?
Yep.
And we went over a ton of reasons. We went over the production of J.K. Dobbins. What did he play? 9 games in his last 2 seasons or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it looks bleak, but man, if you have watched J.K. Dobbins on a football field when he's healthy,
he's free.
Yeah, it's a free pick, and he's good. I mean, when he's healthy, he's good.
Chuba Hubbard went before J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins has the upside of being the starter, being the superstar that he was drafted to be.
Yep.
And he did. We've seen flashes of it.
This could be his real second chance to show what he can do. And it's the same coaching staff that developed this guy.
Yeah.
This is
he made a lateral move.
Yeah. And I mean, we don't necessarily expect him to be the starter in LA, but I
do not need him to be.
No, you don't need him to be in this at this spot. 17th round. I mean,
but I could sit on Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
Or I could take a shot on a J.K. Dobbins. After him, Tyler Algier, Roshan Johnson, Ray Davis. It's all the same story.
Yeah.
With, I feel like, a little bit less upside. A little bit more. I mean, honestly, I feel like more uncertainty.
Right. The only one that I like more is probably Ray Davis. And that's just Ray Davis.
That's fine. But I think you're still looking for an injury.
Oh yeah,
whereas with J.K. Dobbins, you're looking for not an injury.
Yeah, you're looking for health.
I'm kind of cool with that
because Gus Edwards is aging. I'll work on finding his age, but
We're gonna have to go up rounds.
Yeah, I mean Gus
14th round.
Gus went in the 14th, and Gus is 29 years old. I mean, how old is
25.
JK? 25.
25.
4-year difference.
He's not even at the running back cliff yet.
Yeah.
And we've seen flashes, guys. And I got him in the 17th round after Chuba Hubbard.
Yep.
That's after Damian Pierce.
Just even if
after Jerome Ford.
Even if he's only good for a couple games.
Sweet.
17th round.
I punted the position until the 7th, 8th round.
Yep. And honestly, say he has those 2 good games, great games, and trade block.
Well,
sell.
Well, when you get in these dynasty leagues and you get into these later rounds, what are you drafting for?
Right.
Potential? A potential trade? You know what I mean? A potential trade asset?
Pretty much.
A potential week or 2 start?
Yep.
With based on injury?
Yeah.
If you don't have upside in these players that you're putting on your bench, there is no reason for you to have them.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, JK's washed. Throw out the 17th round of your draft. Okay.
Sure.
Well, you can draft somebody next year to replace it.
Sure.
Yep.
You have a rookie draft coming in the offseason.
Yep.
Hammer away. Hammer away. You're going to find some guy in the 4th round that you think is going to take you to the top.
Yeah. I mean,
full send on it.
Let's put it this way. A couple rounds later, Kamani Vidal went. Isaac Guerrero went to your team later on.
Rico Dowdle even.
Yeah. I mean, Jaleel McLaughlin. I mean, this is the level of player that you're getting in the 17th and later
It's
rounds.
all backups.
It's all backups with the hope that
they'll see the field.
They'll see the field.
Right.
Yep.
Just
JK has talent.
I love that was one of my favorite picks.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
just
solid.
shooting. Give me some upside.
Yeah, you sniped me on that one. I'll give you that.
Just give me the upside. Let me see it.
Yeah.
Or I could grab a Tyler Algier. He showed up last year.
Yeah, I like Algier.
I know.
In the same area.
It's just not the same upside. Unless he goes somewhere else.
Well, and I'm sorry, Bijan. Bijan's not losing that job.
No.
Gus Edwards could lose that job.
Absolutely.
That's the difference.
Absolutely. That's the point. Moving on. So that was the end of that curve. Came all the way back around. So now here, after the Tyler Algiers, Rashid Shaheed, Javon Baker went, Curtis Samuel went,
Justin Fields
went as well. I grabbed DeMario Douglas. So I hit New England pretty hard in these last couple rounds.
He didn't realize it until today.
But I kind of, if I get one,
I like it.
If I get one out of them,
yeah.
So grab DeMario Douglas. There's going to be one that comes out if Drake May does his thing.
Yeah, and I mean, DeMario Douglas last year really showed to be a good safety net. I mean, you know,
he was playable.
Yeah, just as an easy comp, because I watch all the games, yada yada yada. You've already heard this. He's like the Patriots' Romeo Doubs in my mind.
Yeah,
he's good for 10.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And on top of that, he was pretty much good for 10. And I don't believe he scored a touchdown last year. I mean,
he did not.
Yeah, so
sweet.
You might have more upside than you think because that Patriots offense was so dysfunctional last year.
And he's 23.
Yes, this wide receiver room is so crowded.
It is.
There's like 13 people on the roster for a wide receiver.
And I can't help but shoot my shot.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
I think we all wanted to.
The Buffalo, the Chargers.
Yeah.
All these, New England. I cannot help but shoot my shot, especially in a startup dynasty league.
Because if you're right.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So.
It could be good.
We're going to speed around this. So I grabbed DeMario Douglas. I'm just trying to build some depth here. You're in these later rounds. You're getting into the thin of it. You know what I mean? Just trying to back up some positions, reinforce some stuff. So DeMario Douglas, and then I came around. I grabbed Brandon Cooks.
I love the Brandon Cooks here. Safe. That's so good. That's such good veteran.
19th round.
19th round. Dallas's wide receiver 2.
Yep.
Kavontae Turpin's the wide receiver 3 here, guys. What are we doing?
Yep.
Go continue. Sorry.
So grab Brandon Cooks. The 20th round, I grabbed Isaac Guerendo. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. But how many times has Christian McCaffrey's backup been a key role in someone's season?
And how many times has that backup stepped on the field? I mean, we've seen Elijah Mitchell touch the field. Not as much once McCaffrey got there.
Trey Sermon, Mason.
I mean, they get on the field, and if Guerendo has a chance to show that speed that he showed off in the combine, you never know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to take McCaffrey's job, but anybody can get hurt.
So I'm just hammering these upside RB2s.
Yep.
Trying to build some depth. Situations happen. I want them.
Yep.
So after that, I grabbed Dylan Luabe, Las Vegas RB2.
Good receiving back.
Liked his film. Like his style. He's behind Zamir White,
who is not a receiving back.
They didn't overly invest in him.
No.
You know what I mean? He's a rental back essentially that earned a job last year. Super cool.
Yep.
However, I could definitely see the RB2 getting some work.
And real quick, these receiving backs, it is easier for them to carve out a role than like an Isaac Guerendo.
Yeah, they carve out a down.
Yeah. You can
see the field.
You can be on the field, every third down or every second down, whatever the team wants to do. That's a great pick in the 21st round.
That was just trying to get some depth.
Yeah.
Situational. How often are you actually going to play your fifth running back?
Yeah.
Hopefully there's a reason to.
You sure you shouldn't have took Alexander Madison?
I am
later.
sure. Will Shipley was the other one I was considering there.
Understandable.
Even Tyrone Tracy, but it's all the same conversation.
Same exact.
I just picked a backfield. Yep. I picked a backfield that doesn't have a superstar ahead of it, as like Philadelphia does, and then like New York Giants would be the other one I could see it. However, I don't know that. I didn't know that depth chart going into this as well.
Yeah, I don't think they know 100%.
I felt better about the Vegas backfield.
I agree.
So I'm shooting a shot on it.
Yep.
So here I knock out 4 wide receivers that I knew were on the field.
Yeah.
Honestly, I knew they're on the field. So I grabbed Greg Dortch. That situation in Arizona is the same as the Chargers, as all those guys.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that they got Marvin Harrison in the first round, obviously.
But
there's room for targets.
Well, and they shipped out Marquise Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Zay Jones came in, but Dortch is going to see the field. He's going to be that slot threat.
They love Dortch.
Yeah.
They love Dortch.
I love seeing Dortch on the field.
Last year he put up 4 games over 10 points last year in PPR.
That's great for where you're getting these guys.
The year before that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 of those are 20-point games.
Yep.
I mean, he's seen potential. He's part of that team. Yeah. He's part of their mechanics when they cut or trade. I don't know what they did with Marquise Brown off the top of my head, but he's in that equation.
Yeah.
When they're doing this, when they're cutting bait on these wide receivers and buckling down, he's in this equation in the 22nd round. He went after Nico Remigo, Kansas City wide receiver.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
No, that you got to take while Nico Remigo's going. I mean, Greg Dortch is going to see the field. I don't know if Nico is going to see the field.
And Kyler Murray was hurt for half of last year.
Exactly. And
I feel like with the way they just invested in a superstar wide receiver.
Yep.
I feel like this is all going to get reworked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This whole flow is going to get reworked. I mean, I'm sure he's the third target on that offense, but that offense puts up fantasy points.
Yeah, and break glass in case of emergency. That's what you have injuries and bye weeks happening. Greg Dortch.
I can flex a guy that has a potential of putting up a 20-point week.
Yeah.
Or sure.
A 10-point week if you're hurting.
Yep.
I'll take it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And with a little bit of upside because he was a PPR machine for a while. He has like spurts of being a PPR machine. And if he's just getting more integrated, sure.
Yeah. And is another great one coming up with the next pick.
Next pick. So again, I'm just kind of dabbling with these wide receiver rooms. So I grabbed KJ Osborne. That's now a New England Patriot. Did you know that? KJ Osborne over in New England, just late round value.
Yep.
Maybe. So I end up with 3 of the New England's backfield in these later rounds, but I can cut bait on these guys.
Yeah.
And
easiest cut.
Who cares?
Well, and I mean, KJ Osborne earns targets. And that's what I like about
he
KJ.
Does.
I've always liked KJ Osborne. And I mean, yes, last year wasn't great.
Addison broke out.
Yeah. Minnesota's wide receiver room was busy. Yep. And they didn't have a quarterback for half the year.
Exactly.
And Kirk Cousins said if he was healthy, KJ Osborne would have seen the ball thrown his way more. But, I mean, I'm looking at the snap percentages right now. He was on the field all the time. I mean, even with Addison out there. And because Addison and Jefferson, when Jefferson was healthy.
And Addison was super overly productive.
Yeah, and you saw Brandon Powell on the field. I mean, this guy earns targets. I mean, there's a few games here. Half of them are over 5 targets, which, I mean, there's guys that we're drafting 15 rounds higher that are getting less targets.
Yep.
So I like that pick there.
Next up, I grabbed Chase Claypool, Buffalo wide receiver. Again, Buffalo wide receiver room up in the air. Yeah, did you know that? I'm sure you did. There's too many Chase Claypool haters to not know that.
That's very true.
But why not? He had that breakout rookie season.
Yeah, his rookie year was insane.
So we've seen flashes. Now he's going to a place with the best quarterback he's ever had thrown to him.
Yep.
And 24th round.
Probably, he might have had Roethlisberger, but
I think Josh Allen's better than
Josh Allen is better than Roethlisberger. Yeah. Oh, I agree.
You got something to say?
No, sorry, I had a lapse of like, okay, hold on a second. What are the quarterbacks? Sorry, it's late, guys.
It is. Yeah. Take two. So after that, I went Kadarius Toney.
Mm-hmm.
I got a soft spot for Kadarius Toney. Listen, all right. I was pretty hyped on Kadarius Toney as a rookie. In my eyes, this is free.
Yeah.
This is free. He deserves to be rostered. They kept targeting him after he kept dropping balls.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
Just going to glide right through that one.
I'm going to see. Hold on. Who did I choose him over?
Okay. Well,
No. I chose Kadarius Toney.
Okay.
Over another Kansas City running back. Chig. I could have took Chig.
Yeah, Noah Fant. Jamal Williams, which they're even to me.
Where are you seeing Noah Fant? Oh, yeah, my bad. Joe Milton, which I guess I could have justified. Trey Palmer. Johnny Wilson from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Deonta Foreman.
Yeah. No, I'll take Kadarius Toney.
Sure.
I'll take Kadarius Toney.
There's a chance.
This is just to defend myself. Juju.
Yeah,
I don't want every New England wide receiver.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a 3-pack.
I do. Anyways. Okay, so I grabbed Kadarius Toney because I like him. I don't like he drops balls though.
So your next 3 picks are, I think, great values.
I like all my picks, dude. That's why I picked them.
Yep.
Okay. So came back. It's getting deep. We're getting a little desperate here.
Deep.
So I actually grabbed Jordan Travis as my QB4. So I'm just looking at it. If Rodgers comes back or he has injury issues, they cut bait on Zach Wilson. He's QB2 at the Jets, and I don't know if he's good or not.
Well, and
I'm gonna roster him.
Yeah, Zach Wilson.
I see a path.
Zach Wilson's in Denver now, so I mean, there's not a clear cut number 2. Honestly, I think it's Tyrod Taylor. Is their number 2 right now?
I didn't think about Tyrod when I drafted Jordan.
But the benefit to drafting Jordan Travis is he's perfect for a taxi squad.
That's where he's at,
and that's where he should stay.
Yeah,
but for this year, you never know what's going to happen with Rodgers and Tyrod. It's hard to say how long. It'll probably be a season. He's a rental.
Yeah, I like Tyrod.
Yeah,
didn't think about when I drafted Jordan Travis.
Yeah, you need to fill the taxi squad.
I still like Jordan Travis. I like his hair.
He did put up good numbers in college. He looks good in college. So
yeah, I bet he looks good. See his hair?
No,
it's fantastic.
He doesn't have a picture on Sleeper. You got to do me like that?
None of the rookies do.
Oh, jeez. Moving on.
Anyways, another New England back. I grabbed Kendrick Bourne. Just spreading it around. I'm hoping one of these guys hits. That's all it is.
He's the highest paid wide receiver there. And when he did play last year, he did suffer injury. But he put up a few games of good numbers. I mean,
yeah, that's what he does.
12, 16, 19, a few games under 10, and then 24. I mean, actually started the season with 24. So there's some upside there in your 27th round.
Yeah, and that's what he's done every year.
Yeah.
Every year. Going back, I'm looking at 2021 right now.
Yeah.
And he had 4 points, or he had 21, 14, 15, 24, 14.
Yeah.
So it's just upside.
And yeah, he's gonna be on the field.
Well, and if Drake May is productive,
yeah,
I see a role.
Yeah,
I see an avenue. So spreading the love, 24th round or 27th round. Last pick,
the best pick of the draft. Here.
Put a bow on this. I grabbed Joe Flacco.
Second to last pick in the draft.
How do you not grab Joe Flacco?
After what he did last year.
After what he did last year.
I love Joe.
And then he's now back up to Anthony Richardson.
It's great.
He just missed the whole season.
Yeah, it's a great situation for Joe.
I love Anthony Richardson.
Yep.
I think he's the cheat code times 2. But he puts his neck out there every single time he runs that ball.
He runs like Cam Newton. He runs over people.
He takes hits like Mike Williams falls.
Yeah.
And if Joe Flacco gets the start, I have a Joe Flacco Michael Pittman stack.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Cool. I mean, he's just a stash. If I need to drop him, I'll drop him. I'll actually probably end up dropping a wide receiver from New England.
Yeah.
But it's late round. Look what he did last year, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's late round, and there's good points to be had there. I mean, let's see, Joe Flacco.
And I punted that depth.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And you still get you got good depth in your quarterback room. You really did. But I mean, guys, he finished the season 17, 21, 19, 26, 23, 0, and then in a wild card game, he got 15. I mean, he's putting points on the board. In a Superflex league, if he's on the field, I'd roll him out.
And not to mention he was feeding Amari Cooper, who was putting up 50s.
Yeah.
Or 40s.
Amari Cooper.
A lot.
He's so good.
So if something happens, heaven forbid, on Anthony Richardson, I've got a Michael Pittman Joe Flacco stack with my last pick in the draft, my 28th round pick.
And their receiving core was improved over the offseason. They got Adonai Mitchell. Adonai, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Joe Flacco's not afraid to sling it.
No.
I like it.
It's a break glass in case of emergency, but that's all those late round picks are.
Yeah, why not get the guy who, if he's on the field, he's going to score good points.
Yeah, and he was free.
So, all right, well, that's it, right?
It feels like enough.
If you made it through 28 rounds of this dynasty draft with us,
you should have. I did. I barely did.
Well, actually, I know we're fading fast, but we really appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, join the Facebook group. We're on all the socials.
If you're doing startups, let us know your favorite pick and favorite value.
Yeah. And tell us how bad Dustin's team is. We'd love to hear it.
You can't.
Tell us who you should trade for. Even better.
Tell me who I should get rid of.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
Of who you think I should try to get, who I should try to dump off. If any of those like first initial round pick guys that you're not into and you think I should cut bait, let me know. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. And next time we're gonna go over my team and you can tell me how bad I did.
Yep.
All right, guys. Peace.